DC's hand being shown.
Yeah.
We're going for the Drow. The Drow strat. Drow Venge. The question is, with the buffs, do they pick the Visage? Are we going to see the return of the Drow Venge Visage?
I don't know. It's a very static lane if you run that setup, right? I mean, and against a Riki, you're perhaps vulnerable elsewhere, just because both Venge and Visage aren't great roamers. But I mean, for obvious reason, it's very strong.
Ooh.
You know, come that 10-minute mark. But
TB.
yeah, I don't think many teams are going to be deterred by the TB nerfs. I mean, buyback is not a core mechanic of the hero, so not lingering Metamorphosis through death. 50 mana cost on Metamorphosis hurts a little bit, but I don't think really it's all that much. So no surprise.
I don't think that matters at all.
No, I mean, because you build stats anyway, don't you?
Yeah.
You never have mana problems really on TB at a certain point, do you?
You do early, like potentially early
Like
game.
to farm.
Early game. I guess early game farm.
Yeah.
If you're using your other spells, if you're most of the time you're only using Metamorph early game. You're not making illusions.
Reflection's really cheap.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, that didn't get touched.
I think DC showing. I mean, this is something which really China has been first picking non-stop is the Drow Ranger. Like they've just gone back from Nanyang. Like every single team there is first pick or first banning this hero.
Yeah, and really good or smart banning from them as well. Having such a single target-oriented draft to take out Ohio's Broodmother, he's taken over games time and time again. I think the Batrider ban would be a good one for DC here. Fnatic favor it a lot for Ohio. It's nice with the Terrorblade as well as against the Drow, but there is already a Vengeful Spirit in their hands, so perhaps they're willing to give that away.
I think Dazzle might be a little bit better. Cause they're already like more physical damage based, and it's also versus a Terrorblade. Terrorblade plus Dazzle has been the scourge of. It's also the secondary scourge of Nanyang behind the Drow.
All right, here we have the DC boys. Moo wanting to get nice and close to Misery.
Kappa Pride. Ben just hit me because I memed.
You memed earlier, I didn't hit you.
I know,
they were more appropriate.
He's been tame.
That was not appropriate. It's just one dude standing behind another dude trying to draft. What's wrong with you?
That's how it works.
Well, you say it like that, Ben.
That's how you do it.
It was more the statement than the visual. But...
Next thing you know, you've got a little female on your hand, you know?
Okay.
So similar in nature to the Dazzle, the Oracle is going to be the one removed by DC here. And the Batrider actually taken out by Fnatic themselves, not having their next pick. Helps them out. Precision Aura helps Batrider in lane quite a bit. So.
Is the Shadow Demon Drow thing? Is that something any teams have been covering with?
I mean, Shadow Demon was Terrorblade.
They like it more, versus Terrorblade or with Terrorblade, not really with the Drow.
No, okay.
But I mean, you are versus TB here.
Yeah, you're versus TB, so yeah, you could do it. But I would say it's more so you can kill Terrorblade.
Darkseer.
I like that. It blocks it from Fnatic. Exactly. Darkseer Ricky's very annoying, but you're not going to pick it purely as a block pick. It obviously works well for them as well.
I think you always want a mech carrier too.
And a hero that's going to be picking it up super quick.
I mean, there's also just not many offlaners left when you have Void, Bat, Brood all being banned in that second stage.
I wouldn't be too surprised to see something like IO Bristle from Fnatic at this point. I mean, effectively, Fnatic have taken out. IO taken out.
You need a support to go with Terrorblade. You can't run the Riki plus IO support seems very weak.
Oh, there you go for the Shadow Demon because, as you said, with the TB. Yeah. They take it.
I was just touching how they banned and picked out Ohio with the Brood, Darkseer, Void, and Batrider all out of the game. He's a bit limited.
SD also crushes Darkseer in lane.
Yeah.
Pretty badly.
See what they add to this push. I really wonder if they do run the Visage, but it's obviously.
Well, you have a stable laner in the Darkseer, right?
Hey, you got the familiar stance to combo with the vacuum.
I think you want some magic damage against Terrorblade, though. I don't think you want to like this. I mean, you've got Soul Assumption, but that relies on some initial damage to get the burst to kill Terrorblade. I like to me, Lion is a better pick than Visage, just because you get Disable as well as the finger burst damage to deal with Terrorblade.
Yeah, you get the bonus that you can eliminate one illusion as well with the mana drain. So.
And Lion's also good against the Shadow Demon, Terrorblade, Illusion, spam stuff.
Yeah, I guess Lion's always.
I think they actually have absolutely no real lane clear / push, which is they can later on with Ag's Drow, but during the mid game they're kind of lacking that against the Illusion spam.
They could always Phoenix too.
Both these teams definitely love their Phoenix. Puck still in the pool. Often see it with Drow Ranger lineups.
Well, something that we used to play a lot was the Wind Ranger, and this is already fairly decent. I guess it's not too
a lot
big
of
against the
armor
TB.
on TB.
Yeah,
So.
you're not looking to have it to take down that, but Axe, and that's going to be a jungle Axe.
Yeah, looks that way.
It's a little tough versus SD. I think Axe is one of the best win rates versus Terrorblade, though.
Yeah. Okay.
Because he has pure damage as well as Chop not really being a great counter to Sunder, but like okay.
Yeah, it's
I would
decent.
say.
He's got to think more carefully about how long he holds before he sunders. Yeah.
Yeah.
The low health.
I do like how they immediately shifted away from physical damage as soon as the Terrorblade pick came out, though.
Yeah.
I've seen like you just like all in on physical damage with like Slardar and whatever, but I think Terrorblade has one of the best win rates versus Slardar, so clearly pretty good versus minus armor.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Definitely need some. I mean, they have no initiation really right now, but that can come out of the mid or the off lane. Typically, it's kind of a high risk role in hero. Mid one's Ember Spirit is still there. Not the
Ember, I think, is
easiest
pretty weak here.
Yeah.
Gust, you're dead.
They definitely need some sort of wave clear though. They're kind of black. I mean, they have Shadow Poison,
Yeah.
but it's not great.
Yeah, wave clear and initiation are two big gaps in Fnatic's draft, but it's one of those things where you've got Terrorblade on one side, Drown another. It's just win that one big team fight, you take a lot of towers and objectives.
I just think that they arguably one of the teams that loves to run the most in the mid lane, the Medusa.
Interesting though. Not sold on this fitting.
I guess it stops the push, essentially. You just drop her in with a TP and suddenly DC have to rethink the game plan for the time being.
Yeah. And DC still lack the damage to actually like kill a Medusa or even a Terrorblade.
Yeah. I mean, it's obviously looking at you got a TB and a Medusa. If this goes late, DC, something's gone wrong, surely.
Yeah, I think something that Mushi and a lot of the high-level Terrorblade players have been able to show is the ability to defensively sunder, and with the Shadow Demon bailout plus that into the Medusa, she should be able to stand her ground for the most part. But Slardar Ban does end up coming out from DC, so for obvious reasons going to synergize really well with the Stone Gaze and the Terrorblade's physical damage.
I mean, the thing is, kind of Ben, looking at this in terms of drafts, if DC do get ahead, Fnatic's lineup, I mean, they've not really got wave clear or anything, have they, if the pushes starts coming heavy?
No.
Is that an issue for them?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Medusa Mystic Snake is probably the best thing that they have, which is actually pretty good.
It's okay. It's not bad.
Yeah.
I am worried for them if like Medusa gets underfarmed and she's forced to like fight a lot. I could really see that being a problem.
And if you have one like bad fight where you use Metamorph and Stone Gaze, suddenly you've got no way to defend towers without those two spells, so...
Mirana's one of the better counters we've seen, soft counters at least towards Terrorblade.
Yeah.
With the Aghanims build, so...
That's a hero we've played a lot of lately too.
Yeah.
Does we play much of the Juggernaut?
So there's some of the
Because we got,
initiations.
you could get Manta Diffusal on him to deal with the Medusa. Or does he just get wrecked in the mid lane?
It's fine.
Versus
It's okay.
Medusa.
Jug's
Yeah, it's
always,
okay.
almost always
Yeah.
squash.
Okay.
I think Jug is quite a good pick here.
I think they might want a ranged hero though. I
Okay.
think like a
Yeah, to take advantage of the Drow. Yeah,
DK
that's-
perhaps.
Actually, yeah, that's true. It's a Drow strat, and you've only got 2 ranged at the moment. Surely a third. Yeah, DK.
DK Wind Ranger. I don't know if you want Wind Ranger though versus the Nyx and Riki.
Yeah.
Riki's I think really good at dealing with Wind Ranger.
DK could be good.
Lina is a pick. Lina and Lesh they like a lot, but I would also disagree with that.
Has he been playing Lina recently in the mid lane?
They played it a little bit like a month or 2 ago.
Okay.
They kind of like played it during the Summit qualifiers because they played Lesh a lot and then they kept losing with Lesh, so then they went for the Lina instead.
Okay.
It's a difficult, like, I feel like DK is probably the best option in the sense that there's a Riki on the other side. Like, there still are things like the Puck and the Wind Ranger, but they rely on their defensive spells, and...
Yeah. They also have mostly like physical damage, I would say.
Yeah.
No, they go with the Wii Ring
Okay.
Wind Ranger. I mean, this is something that he's always loved. You know, this has definitely been one of the heroes over the patches that we still tries and finds a place for. And he obviously works with the Drow. And overall, well, what do we reckon about these drafts? It's 2 very, very different drafts.
I like the Drow lineup more.
Me too. I think Fnatic's very slow paced with the Medusa Terrorblade, and
Yeah.
if they get a good early game, they can snowball start taking towers early. But
Yeah.
How do you have a good early game with the Medusa?
I know it's like, oh, you say Riki. Well, who does Riki actually kill here? Best case scenario, Riki finds the axe in the jungle and like really
Some
slows him
XP
down.
and-
But
yeah, I think a lot of it for Fnatic is going to be on Ohio, and he does have the he does have only two members in the safe lane for DC, but there's a lot of damage output from Resolution. So
a low level Nyx isn't gonna do a whole lot.
Yeah.
Nyx is like one of those offlanes who's just there, like, oh, I hope I can get my level 6 and
Right.
arcane boots by 12 minutes or something. Other than that, it's like he doesn't pressure the lane really. So it's gonna be tough, I think. I think DC have the much easier to execute draft here.
Yeah, it definitely feels like we're all on the same page with that. But I mean, if at all they're able to hinder the push of DC, I mean, this is definitely a very
They have a lot of
lineup.
things they need to deal with. They need to slow down the Axeman jungling, so slow down his wing timing. They need to slow down the mech from the Darkseer, and they need to prevent Drow Ranger from pushing all their towers. It's very difficult to do all three of those with the lineup that they have.
Yeah.
It's kind of a Riki that needs a kill partner. There's no Sunstrike. There's no hero that can really like go with him to kill. You can get SD, like you can disrupt in a smoke cloud, but that's still not any damage.
Not at least for the first 9 or so minutes until the Nyx gets his Vendetta up.
I think the key here for me from Fnatic is actually going to be Terrorblade, because that's the one hero who can rotate and take fights and push towers early. And it's not just about winning his safe lane, it's about recognizing the moments when he needs to go fight with the Nyx, because Terrorblade's the one hero that can fight better than a Medusa can. Like, level 4 Mystic Snake, not bad, but Metamorphosis is the much scarier of those level 4 abilities.
Riki can cause a lot of disruption. Like maybe if Wind Ranger gets low, you can get a kill on her mid.
Yeah.
Maybe you can kill an Axe, but I think both of those require DC to mess up on some end. All right.
It's a big match. I mean, you verse OG in next round, but it's as far as dropping down the lower bracket. First round, you don't want to find yourself there early on.
What were odds for this match?
I think when I checked earlier, it was pretty
What
close.
would you say?
I think it was slightly edgy for
545,
Fnatic.
I would say.
Yeah,
For Fnatic.
I would say even less. I would say 60-40.
Yeah,
60-40 sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
Haven't seen Fnatic all too recently, but DC did not look great at Nanya.
They did not.
I guess what for the last thing Fnatic played in was the qualifiers, or did they play anything since then?
61-39.
I think it's the last thing. Yeah, that's the last tournament they played.
That's it's pretty reasonable. Wow, that is a very far sentry. Pretty good anti-Riki. It's pretty hard to get deawarded, I would say. Although a lot of times they like it on the high ground so that it doesn't immediately get eaten on the low.
This is kind of nice as well for DC. Obviously, they've put the Axe down on the bottom lane with the Darkseer.
Yeah.
And Fnatic, they actually expended an Observer and a Sentry trying to block up the jungle of DC. So Axe doesn't kind of care. It's a little bit of a little meta loss for Fnatic inside the game. But
Yeah, they can easily cut the creep wave as well with that duo. And with a Riki roaming around and a Shadow Demon, there's not all that much Fnatic have in the way of a solution to that.
Nice. Gets the Sentry at top. So they forced Drow to salve early, so they're going to be looking... It seems like Fnatic's idea for the early game is to just pressure Drow's weak laning stage. Like, you see an Axe bottom, you know this Drow bench is not going to be able to deal with a Riki all too well.
And they know that Axe isn't going to come to the lane, so they need to be able to do that.
Yeah.
TP scroll early.
I guess he wants to be able to go back to the jungle in case the lane doesn't go very well. But it is,
Usually you pick it up like after you die, like after you suicide in neutrals. I'm not sure what it is. Like if you're gonna stay in lane, there's not really that much point in having a TP scroll. Maybe he's worried about dying to a disruption combo.
And there's not much like rotation potential from Axe unless you get like you could go level 2 Battle Hunger, but TPM with Battle Hunger is like kind of meh. Like that counter potential.
I mean, maybe his reaction if 343 jumps in up top, goes too aggressive on the Drow.
It only works if they actually
if
physically
they go,
dive your tower, which I don't think a Riki Nyx is going to be doing at
He's
early
not going to be
levels.
too YOLO.
Against Gus too. Potential Gus. Oh yeah, that is...
Yeah, 3 spins.
Good stuff.
As his mid lane going at the moment, Mushi 7 for 2, we 10 for 6, so quite an edge at the moment for the Wind Ranger.
Bit of better animation. Both of these players super comfortable on their respective heroes.
Yeah, Drow as well, of course. It's going to help out the lanes. I guess once he gets a few levels in the Snake, Mushi will be able to catch back up, but at the same time, he has a power shot.
He has the Immortal. Have you seen that Immortal? I think that's one of the
best.
Oh,
well, the Wind Ranger.
The best common one.
It does look pretty. Here we go. Here's the rotation we're talking about. Saxa turning up.
Here we go.
Here we go. We got it.
Rosini is unimpressed.
He's not skilled anything yet. Yep, he's saving the point.
And he picked up the boots. It's the TP top to buy boots strat.
It's the TP top steel Drows. Yes, go on. He's still hanging around. I mean, if they get it, they could stun into cool.
With the creep wave.
Yeah. Okay, he gets off the spike carapace. Nice 2-man stun, and he's walking it out. And with the smoke screen as well, Resolution can't get the right clicks through. So the axe gank was unsuccessful. He put some pressure on it though. As I say that, Ohio kind of walks back in. Resolution's trying for this, but this is pretty tanky Nyx and South, so you got to be careful, Drow.
Yeah, that's pretty deep as well.
I like Drow's build, or sorry, the Nyx's build with the Pro Man. ROP versus all this physical.
Yeah, he doesn't care about the draft.
Pyramid Shield ROP.
Not saying Ring of
Are we
Prot
talking about
anymore.
the same game?
Pyramid Shield ROP. I don't know.
I think casting too much is Lumi.
Yeah. The wolves.
The wolves. Wolves and sheep.
The wolves.
That was a really good series if you guys get a chance to check it out. Wings versus Newbie.
Oh, there's some crazy games, weren't there, in that final series? Yeah, got some of that.
So it looks like this. I think one of the sentries already timed out from Fnatic on the Axe block camp, so
Yeah.
he can go back to the jungle pretty soon. But doesn't have an Iron Talon. Do you think he's gonna go Iron Talon or just go for Tranquil?
Iron Talon's so good in it.
Yeah. Is it
It's
still
late.
value at this
Is it-
stage?
is
Yeah. Now that you've got like the points in spin, it seems like a starting item or bust kind of
You
item.
can't have him just like keep zoning out the Nyx.
I was going to say, is this the way to play? Why are DC putting so much on kind of trying to control the Nyx assassin? Well, why are they kind of
Well,
you know,
because-
resorting acts to just being the sole
Look,
purpose of
the overarching
pulling-
theme, I think, of the early game is that Drow has 16 last hits compared to the 25-ish of Terrorblade, and Ohio has 15 of his own. So
Yeah.
they've been able to disrupt the Drow early on. I feel like that's the only reason that.
Oh, so they're just trying to recover the lane a bit
Yeah.
for Reza. Yeah.
I don't know that they set out to leave Saxa in the top lane. But
I guess this is the problem as well. You start to go into the jungle, Ricky's just going to follow you anyway and sap the XP. So this is always going to be an issue for Saxa.
But an underleveled Riki is much more useful than an underleveled and underfarmed Axe.
Yeah.
So
Agreed.
like
It's worth putting
It's-
the Ricky to that resource.
yeah, definitely. He's been like he hasn't killed anyone, but he's been doing really well for Fnatic to offlane.
All three lanes for Fnatic are kind of going, not necessarily better than expected, but going really well. They've
Yeah.
even got Shadow Demon getting some CS with just some neutral creeps, so laning stage seems really solid for Fnatic.
It's only the mid lane where there's definitely that edge for Wee, but as we said, that's kind of expected with the Drow, and then taking that into account, then maybe he's not as far ahead as...
It's a very small,
Yeah.
4 or 5 CS.
But it's the denies.
The denies are
It's the
big,
denies.
yeah.
The leveling's going to shut down a little bit.
You're
Yeah,
more
which
worried
not
about
too
gold
much.
than XP as a Medusa anyway.
Yes,
So.
yeah, you're not looking to hit a certain peak early on. Yeah.
And Fnatic also know that DC haven't been stacking because Venge has been in the lane the whole time, and Axe has also kind of been there, so they don't really have that to worry about because they didn't have the best heroes to interrupt the stack farm, and now they also don't have to worry about a fast Axe blink or even a Darkseer mech if he wanted to do stacks.
Yeah, Axe is actually, at least for now, in mid lane, but I think that's just we healing up a bit.
Top lane, there's could be something going down. They've managed to corner off Resolution. TJ's there with 3-4-3 as well. There's no save for the Drow. Fnatic. Themselves at first, but Wee's coming with a rotation, gets a nice shackle onto Ohio, but again, this Nyx is so damn tanky. They'll throw out a magic missile, power shot, not going to be quite enough. Ohio actually turns around with the stun. He's going to be able to walk himself out of here. Mushi's turned up. They've cleared out the Venge. They're moving in onto Wee as well, and Fnatic. They're having an absolutely brilliant start to this game. 6 minutes and a half in, and just outplaying DC straight up in that top lane.
Yeah,
They're really taking advantage of the Axe.
This was the entire story of Fnatic throughout the qualifiers earlier. It's just that they, seem to get slightly outdrafted and they just execute better. They've stymied the bleeding in this early game. They've really found a lot of farm on their entire Tricore, and Mushi, even on a hero such as a Medusa, making a key rotation here in the early game, able to get some pretty significant kills on the board.
I think it's also a lot of credit to DJ because before making that rotation, he was in the jungle. So there was a good minute and a half where he's missing from the map. If he goes from zoning in the lane and then goes missing and instantly ganks, DC are ready for it. But it's the fact he spends so long missing from the map in that jungle that makes that gank successful.
Well, I mean, Mid-one's been left alone, but as we can see, obviously TC, they drafted this Axe Darkseer, but because Saxa was up top of the most, I mean, yeah, the Darkseer gets a lot of farm, but you're not shutting down this Terrorblade at all. He's got 44 CS, he's top of the board. Mid-one, he's been very happy with how this game's begun, and obviously with that rotation top, he got a few waves of free XP all to himself. So this is kind of the TB starts that we've seen over the last month that turn into a pretty disgusting game for the opponent.
Especially relative to the Drow on the other side of the board, who definitely needs to start getting a bit of an economic influx from towers. And if you're looking at a game 8 minutes in where you have yet to even take the off lane in your Drow lineup, it's a bit concerning.
Especially with the Nyx being this high level.
Yeah.
I think the Nyx is actually a really big problem. We expected him to have a really tough time in lane, but we also didn't expect the Riki to be up there constantly. And now he's almost level 6. He hasn't died. He's been really close, and DC have been forced to throw a lot of heroes to try and protect their Drow Ranger.
He's in so much trouble. Yeah, Misery's there, but And of course, at this point, nowhere near having the swap online or anything, so no save for resolution. Mushi's coming around the back with the stone gaze. Misery is forced to back up behind the tower, but Ohio, he's moving into position. He's got Vendetta. He's going to have a stun up in a few seconds to finish off the job, and he's trapped Misery in there. Oh, absolutely brutal. Punishes the Venge, and well, mid lane, Wee's trying to go for a play, but yeah, DJ, he might even look to turn this one around with a Demonic Purge into the setup. Ohio, he's got the mana for the stun. He's got it up in a second. Can he land it? No, Wee's just out of range with the wind run. But still, just struggling in all the lanes at the moment.
TP in a battle hunger.
He might do it this time.
Probably has a
Sunder.
Yeah.
But whether they can kill him after.
Oh, that's disgusting. Terrorblade, ladies and gentlemen, he won't quite get the kill. Oh, maybe they'll be able to punish it. Can they save him? Save me! Oh, Moose! Wasn't quite. Not a lot that you could do anyway.
It was good from DC. They recognized that all the TPs had happened towards the top of the mid lane, so there was no help for the Terrorblade. The Shadow Demon couldn't TP, and the Nyx had just TP'd mid, so the only hero who can TP is a Medusa, who's not going to save your life there.
It's really nice. It definitely feels like it's an absorbable loss, though, for Fnatic, considering what they've gotten done.
Yeah, and considering the start that TB was already having, and the fact that he'd had that lane on his own, you know, it's a risk that you're kind of taking. There is going to be a point where they're going to come down and punish you.
Man, Mushi's been active. He's been
he's been up, down, middle.
It's like, that's what Medusa. That's what Medusa does, I didn't think, but Mushi just finding his own way to play this hero.
It's like Gyrocopter-esque right now, the way he's been able to get around the map and use 2 ultimates already. And you know, we talked about Ohio being up against a dual lane. He's going to need to be a linchpin for this lineup, and he is 3rd overall in net worth right now. So definitely a pretty huge issue here for DC. And I think you know, Resolution just now picking up his level 6, so they're going to need to find him some space. You know, whether it's by throwing bodies at Fnatic elsewhere
to get himself the hell out of here. And, he's not going to get the chance to do so. DJ with the disruption into our highest rotation. Moon's going to get punished. And another kill for Mushi. Now on a killing spree on this Medusa.
Oh, so they got the Terrorblade in mid, so they can't make a push off of that. But either way, just bleeding heroes for DC. Mu is definitely not a cheap kill.
He's their most farmed hero by a decent margin. That's one of those things where every now and then you'll see a Darks have a really easy lane where he wins it, but then you look at the net worth and he's like by far the most farmed hero in this game, and that's not a position you ever want to be in. Like, you've got your 2 carries in mid and safe lane being out farmed by a Darks here. That's always a bit concerning.
At least Drow's getting some alone time. Some me time.
Much needed, for sure.
I feel like Drow is less about your own.
Oh!
Okay.
That... I think he underestimated the power of the power shot.
Power of the immortal.
Nice. Pay to win. Alright, let's see if they can punish the win range though here. We'll get the wind run off in time. There is TP's coming through.
Soul Catcher.
That's Mushi. If he gets a good snake, here we go. Bouncy, 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 bounce! Oh!
With the Soul Catcher and the last bounce there, that does so much damage.
4 damage.
Yeah, that's a lot of burst. Snake bounces are real. Fnatic getting the push on.
Mushi has played very well this game.
He really has, yeah. 5.6k as well. The amount of value that he's managed to gain, where he's... I mean, when was the last time we saw him sitting static in the lane? He just hasn't.
Yeah.
I bet he was so excited for the Medusa buffs last patch.
Hey, he's been loving this hero.
Just spotting them behind the tower right now.
Well, he's just chilling. And is he going to get the goal for this? Oh no, yes he is. He is indeed. Mushi takes the money. He's the carry here. Step aside, mid one.
I think that's what mid one needs to do, because like he's had a few deaths in a row. It's like that's the point where you stop going alone to farm, because that's DC's comeback if they get solo kills. But if mid one sticks with his team and pushes, Fnatic will just get further ahead.
Yeah, and unfortunately, the first tower of the game for DC that they pushed bottom with Resolution's rotation, no one was able to secure the last hit for them. So just a bit of extra salt in the wounds.
How's Axe's and DS's goal?
Yeah, Blink on Axe is probably what coming soon. Yeah,
that's rough.
It's actually quite a ways behind.
Almost a smack. Okay. Yeah, they're getting there.
But the mech's not scary without a blink, though. Is it? Like at this stage, at least you need the. Perhaps you could rely on Shackle Shot to initiate.
Ohio may just have a blink of his own before the Axe does. He's sitting on 1,700 gold on the Nyx.
I mean, we're seeing obviously both the Riki and the Nyx Assassin having a really good game, and I guess this kind of works so well against a lineup like DC's have that they're going to want to have the economic advantage early. And Mu getting picked off here on the top. Can they bring him down one more time? They can't quite get it. The turnarounds here. Shackle onto Ohio. They'll punish the Nyx Assassin. Will they be able to catch out Mushi as well? He's on his way out. It looks like they don't really have too much of a gap closing potential.
That was a really nice gank attempt though. Everything they did right there. They timed the Impale when he goes to the range creep, hit him with the Carapace afterwards from the Iron Shell, but just not quite enough damage.
It's a really unfortunate timing for Ohio to go down. He's worth a lot, but he'll still be pretty close to the Blink Dagger, and then he can just jump in with the Carapace on top of the Iron Shell thereafter. So.
Ricky getting found out there as well as he wanders into a sentry placed down by DC. So finding the picks that they need to move. A little bit of trouble down bottom, but they're not going to be able to dive past that. At least though, Fnatic, they'll find the tier 1 mid lane. Look at this, DC continues to put on the aggression. Mushi's looking for the tower deny, he's not going to get it. Resolution picks up the gold. But DC starting to find a few plays that are working out to their favor.
They're getting all their items now. I think Drow has Lance, and then Mech just came out, and then they'll have the X Blink pretty soon. So hey, they're doing fine now.
They're finding a footing for sure. Saxo's Blink will be a massive adding to their ability going forward. So
we still haven't really seen a full 5-on-5, and I think with Fnatic's the way the early game went, I think they might actually be able to fight DC in a 5-on-5 this early.
If anything, it feels more likely that Fnatic would try and seek out a 5v5, whereas DC may prioritize a bit more pick-off split push style, even with the Darkseer mech. I think more likely they're gonna let's get this blink up on Axe and find the pick-offs.
Death's bounty.
So close.
Find a pick-off, take Roche, then you take objectives. I don't think you can just say, oh, we've got blink, let's go team fight. I believe that ward may have been planted in Vision of Sentry. Yep.
Yes, I got the one just on the stairs. Midas, actually the option here for Ohio, so not that Blink Dagger that we were kind of looking for.
So we talked about their lack of wave clear. I think the Nyx Aghanim Scepter is probably one of the better tools to deal with that, with the really low cooldown on the Impale and the long range. So, I mean, the question is, you know, if you're losing, is the game going to be over by then? But I feel like Fnatic feel like they have enough breathing room that they can make the Midas work. But I still feel like the Blink would have been more effective here.
Yeah, I guess a Blink would have helped them kind of keep their edge that they've got, but Midas antagonims is a little bit safer if they're able to kind of stalemate it out, draw it out longer. They've obviously got the superior late game, and then as you said, it's going to be very hard for DC's lineup to break high ground against Nyx. And while DC trying to jump in, 3-4-3, haiding in the tree line, and DC's been rumbled. Be unable to find anything with that as well, and a little bit unfortunate, of course, because that was Sax's Blink Dagger kind of
reveal.
Yeah.
Man, Fnatic were so for that because they had that observer ward dewarded, so they expected like a smoke into a kill into a Roche.
Yeah.
Or just a smoke into a Roche.
And he's just camping here just to scout them going into Roche still.
There is an observer ward though, so they'll see him. They won't get in range. Well, they get the swap onto DJ. The disruption will be there, but the smoke screen covers him during the call. DJ's still alive at this point. Shackle's not going to latch onto the Ricky as well. So they'll only get the Shadow Demon. It was a nice defensive play, but I think this is enough of a window, 30 seconds, where you have a Drow lineup. You're going to be able to at least take a look at this road.
Yeah, Mushi has the TP in.
I was going to say, they need Mushi. If they get Mushi over, they could certainly try and stop it.
It's too late at this point. No T1's up.
Ideal scenario there for Fnatic is if he gets picked, you're pushing the tier 2 at mid and top, but the lanes aren't even that pushed out, so they'll lose the support and the Roche for pretty much nothing in exchange.
And DC will be very happy with this.
Yeah. Fnatic dropped the Sentry Ward too late. They didn't know that DC had vision on that high ground.
Now, if you're DC and you've got this Aegis, do you then start to say, alright, full on, let's go down the lane as 5, or are they not in that much of a rush, DC?
If there were T1 still up, I would say definitely so. Sorry, T1's mid and bottom, but T1 top is like really hard to get to. I think they just need to keep farming.
They do have the mech up, so alongside the Aegis, the Blink. They have some tools, but yeah, it's
just slow though.
Like
they actually managed. They managed to snipe that. What did it have on? 3.1k worth. It was the Lincoln Sphere. Oh, that's a little bit of a hit for Fnatic to take, especially with the fact that DC have just picked up that Aegis and they have got this bit of a power spike.
Resolution's posturing up pretty aggressively here. It does have support inbound with Misery, but.
And they've got the swap available as well. If they could get the vision onto Mushi, I mean, this could be a good time for DC to try and look to take some more objectives. And Mu, all right, with the solo play, trying to go for 3-4-3, get out, get the vacuum. Oh, he can't quite get out the range of the smoke screen, but 3-4-3, he was scared of the vacuum and he cancels the TP to ult, and Mu ends up bringing him down anyway. I think he might have just made it actually, because Mu was still kind of fanning around on the edge of the smoke screen when he was looking to get that vacuum down.
Yeah, it's gonna be close.
Yeah.
Like he goes out, but maybe he just panicked, like one of those
Yeah,
misclick
because you
moments
see
where
he's
it's like,
he's
oh
gonna
crap,
back
he's
him
about to,
anyway. Yeah.
and then you're like, well, if you panic and ulti there, you're gonna definitely die. But
It allows him to complete the 4-star, so it's a really nice solo pickup for Moo.
Yeah, Moo's been playing really nice actually. There's that one time he got caught out on the bottom lane, but each and every time his awareness of the movements of Fnatic seems to be on point.
So this is the one low-hanging fruit Ben was talking about. Tier 1's kind of been missing, so this will be the one low-hanging fruit
like had the axe try and zone out the 2 melee on top.
Yeah.
It was, yeah,